you almost have to replace quite a bit. So, especially in your snapping and things like that. How's everything going in special teams?
It's been great. We had a lot of guys coming back who've done it and have been a part. And the full-time coaches have done a really good job guiding those guys. Giving them the things they need to work on and their tools and fundamentals. But have a lot of pieces that might not have played as much, but have been with the program. Josh Plaster played at Arizona State. And has some time under his belt. Luke Elzinga as a punter, was a 3-year starter, all-MAC player. Zach's coming back with a lot of experience, and just standing back and watching everything, just watching him grow as a leader has been fun, and just the steps he's taken. And then Ben Anderson, is the guy who redshirted last year as a snapper. And just his mindset, like he looks like an old soul. You watch him and you think he's like a 5th-year senior, just how he operates and how he handles himself, how he's taking care of his body. He's a rock star as far as that goes. So feel really good.
Talk about the process of bringing in Luke Elzinga, because I think he's a guy that you had some familiarity with him from your time in Eastern Michigan. Is that correct?
Yeah, so recruited him just a little bit out of high school, but played against him a couple times. So when full-time coaches came in and said, we look at a transfer punter to bring some depth in and some competition, I brought his name up to Coach Finley, who runs the punt team, and went through some other stuff. But ultimately, Coach Finley ended up saying that was the guy that made the most sense with where we're at experience-wise. It's no qualm. Like, we weren't a great pooch punt team last year. Like, we were a highly rated net punt team and punt coverage, did a lot of great things, but hit 10 touchbacks and just put our defense in spots, that were not as good as it should have been. And Luke's excellent at that. He's kind of a pooch punt specialist. So going through all that, obviously I had familiarity, and then Coach Finley thought that was the best piece for us to add into it.
You lose Marvin at punt return there. Who are some guys that have maybe stood out in practice so far?
We got a plethora of guys. Rep and Coach Murray coaches those guys, does an outstanding job with the fundamentals and distractions and making those guys concentrate. But we probably got about 5 guys that we're chewing through, and ultimately as a punt returner, it's a guy who's not going to make a mistake. You got to be a great decision maker. We got to get the ball back. You can't have roll yards. I mean, there's all the essentials, and then you try to get the most explosive player on that can do all that. So we're chewing through that right now, but have about 6 guys that we feel good about.
Process for kick return?
Kick returner is easier because there's not as much decision making going. You're catching that thing. You're not getting hit as soon as you touch the ball at times. But we, between Jaleel with experience and Billy, both those guys did some really good things last year. And then some of the new guys, we probably have about 4 or 5 guys, Peyton Bowen, just explosive athletes in the mix, and excited to see how that plays out.
With Zach Schmidt coming into another year, what was the off-season evaluation process like, and what were the things you guys worked on?
Yeah, no, Coach Biedenbow coaches, the PAT unit, handles the specialists in that. So as he was going through it, you watch all the kicks. On paper, you say, oh my gosh, Zach Schmidt's not very good. We were 67%. But you go back and watch the film, you had a 55-yard that was 2 feet to the left. You had a 47-yard against West Virginia in a monsoon off the upright. Kansas was 53, 1 yard short. So Coach Biedenbow just watching all the film saying, okay, just eliminating late movement in the ball, just hitting something cleaner, on those 50-yarders that didn't kind of, wobble late was his thing to focus on.
I think Zach, he himself has mentioned his mentality of having short memory and all that, but when on paper the numbers look that way, is that any part of the process as well, making sure his mentality's there?
Just as a team, Coach V always just talks about being process-oriented, 1-0. It's not about the results, and it's twofold, because in this profession as a player, like you are judged off, in his situation, did you make the kick or not? Did you win or not? But as a kicker and a specialist, the ball's in the air a long time, and once that ball's in the air, you don't control it, whether you're a snapper, a punter, or a kicker. So having that mindset to what can I truly focus on, what can I truly control, and then sometimes you're going to get a gust and it gets you. But just having that control the controllables for sure.